I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry. The shot of Orihime and Naruto, yeah, that shit looks crazy. That shit looks crazy. I'm not gonna lie. All right, let's just watch this.
I'm going to go over and see if Sakura could solo the entirety of the One Piece verse. And if not, then how far would she go? If you enjoy videos like this that are kind of true and unique, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you never miss them. With that out of the way, let's delve into Sakura versus One Piece. I'll start off with the scaling for Sakura and go into the One Piece segments one by one. Firstly, we can determine that Sakura to be above early feats in scaling that offer a AP range of city block to town level, stemming mostly from a giant upscale of Sasuke's crater vaporization and Jirobe's launch of Choji.
Okay, so one thing that I'm already gonna say, and Remy, is Remy like a more recent power scaler? Okay. One thing I'm gonna say is just that, like, I'm not gonna agree with the basis of this video. As many of you might know, I'm not gonna agree with just the basis of the video, just right on from the start. Not to say because like the video's titled Sakura versus One Piece is fair or anything, not for any reason like that. Mostly just because, as many of you may know, I don't really go for this. You guys see this right here? Like where it says like 203.82 pixels or 79.69. Like I don't do this. Part of the reason why I don't do this kind of stuff is because many of these pixel scaling shots usually don't take into account things like human error when it comes to like the way that the author draws, or like at least the artist draws, right? So for example, one of the best examples I can kind of give you is Gamma Bunta, where the only canon height that Gamma Bunta has is 17 meters, but obviously Gamma Bunta looks way fucking bigger, way bigger when you compare him to like trees and the surrounding areas, etc., which is completely fine. Can Gamma Bunta probably change his size? Sure. Can Gamma Bunta be bigger than 17 meters? Sure. Would it make logical sense for Gamma Bunta to be bigger than 17 meters? 100%. I don't care about any of that. I don't care what pixel calcs you get. I care about what is a canon number. I care about what follows author's intent. So by that logic, I don't agree with pixel scaling whatsoever.
From a giant upscale of Sasuke's crater vaporization and Jirobe's launch of Choji. There can be many different calc methods used for most feats in anime, but generally speaking, these feats all fall into the town levels of AP. We know Sakura to scale to this, as later in Shippuden feats all fall into the town levels of AP.
So, how do we get to town level AP? Official data books and writer Q&A is more true. Yeah, so I don't know how they got it to town level. I assume that maybe because it created a crater, like he melted up like the stones, etc. that were there. I assume that's how they get to it, but yeah, let's just see where this goes.
Later in Shippuden, she is able to
I want to make it clear, no hate to Remy. I'm happy to see more power scalers in the community. I'm always glad to have more people within the community, and hopefully he's also growing a community that tries to employ some level of healthy power scaling. So once again, whether or not I disagree, obviously no hate to this guy. And if you guys actually do end up enjoying his content, or some of you actually do agree with the message that he goes by, then I would 100% say Kakuzu, Pain, Gaara, Kiba, Naruto was even fighting Kurama. Dude got the least help in his fights. Not by this list. This list right here says Naruto got a fuck ton of help, dude. Yeah, no. Naruto had the least amount of fights and likely still had, like, the most amount of help. But anyway, that's not the point.
Combat Sasori, a member of the Akatsuki who is far above these minor feats. Sasori is a character that is above the likes of Deidara, who battles Curse Mark II Sasuke, and by this time Sasuke would be well above the start of Shippuden self, as well as Naruto and Sakura. If we was to take Sasori being above Deidara at face value, then he would also be above Deidara's Sui Bomb that held around the small country level of output. We know this to be widely consistent within this linear path of scaling, as the Akatsuki are the enforcers of hunting down the Jinchuriki and Biju. While the Jinchuriki are for the most part stronger than their Bijus, and Biju bombs on average are in the country levels of AP. That said, and keeping in mind Akatsuki should be on par, if not above this, then
1 second. Let me just check out, I read what you just said, Scott. Let me just check that out real quick. Fireball Jutsu data book. I just want to check out the data book entry for the Fireball Jutsu real quick, guys. Because I just want to see if it's stated there that the jutsu itself vaporizes. Kekkei Genkai, Kinjutsu, Hiden, I don't care about any of that. Herited Power, the Reverse Lotus, the Sexy Jutsu, the Front Lotus, the Haze Jutsu, the Cloak, Shadow Clone, Shadow Clone, Shadow Clone, Clone Clone, Blade Wind, Fang over Fang. Okay, the Great Fireball Jutsu, Sasuke Uchiha. A jutsu where the chakra needed inside the body is converted into fire and expelled in a forward massive orb of roaring flame. The scope of the attack is altered and controlled by controlling the volume of the chakra that is mustered. The blaze is released with a thunderous roar that will engulf their target, leaving a crater on the ground surface. That's how terrifying they are. The massive flames engulf and vaporize everything. So, one of the things about like using data book statements as a metric by which you're going to scale something, so in this case vaporizes, is that like it uses a lot of language that you can take it for what it is. 100. I'm not telling you guys not to. Interpret it however you want. But when it uses terms like vaporizes everything, I would use this I would say that this is honestly a hyperbolic statement, only because if it vaporizes everything, it would vaporize, for example, a Susanoo, right? Not saying that it can, not saying that it can't, just saying that, like, this would be the logic. If we're going to apply it, then you have to apply it towards everything, and by that logic, you would have to argue that it could also vaporize Susanoo, could vaporize Kaguya, since it's saying everything. Now, everything could also mean, like, everything up until this point in the story. Hey, Lapis! You're back! How was, it wasn't a camp, right? It was, Well, anyway, I'm glad you're back, man! Why is he scaling Sasori to Deidara's C0 bomb directly? It's not like he can actually make an explosion or as powerful as it himself. Yeah, no, so the issue with, like, trying to scale, or at least trying to do, like, direct lines of scaling is that, when somebody uses, like, let's say, Sasori to, like, when you try to do something like, let's say, Sasori to Deidara, for example, the issue with that is that you would essentially have to argue that Sasori's AP is equal to that of Deidara's AP at its highest extent. We know for a fact that Deidara's basically a music get-together. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's right. Can't we use the same logic for Wiper's beam cannon and Skypiea? It vaporized pretty much everything it shot. That's true, but it's coming more or less from a statement rather than it just being a feat itself, which is kind of the thing that I'm trying to separate, right? Because when you're taking into consideration something like a statement, you have to consider, like, the source, but you also have to consider, like, what kind of language is being used within the source, and then does that language follow the language from the main source, which is the manga, right? Like, does the language that is used here, does the way that the jutsu is described, the method by which the jutsu is described, is the language similar to the way that, like, jutsu are described in the source material? Not necessarily, right? For example, it says released with a thunderous roar. It doesn't release any kind of noodles would help us right now. True. It doesn't necessarily mean that, like, it's actually releasing, like, a thunderous roar, right? It's more or less just, again, language that's used to make it sound more impressive than it probably really is, right? Bungus was our mascot, but he got taken out by Eon after the affair got revealed. What affair? What bullshit? Who's Bungus? Don't talk about... Alright, you guys are bringing up some bullshit. Hey, what's up, Caleb? Now we're back to watching videos. I'm just here yapping real quick. You're talking to... Pretty sure when Sasori says he can take down a country with his 100 puppets, it's pretty sure he means that he can take down the government of said country, not actually destroy the landmass. That's what I'm saying. I don't think his 100 puppets have the destructive capacity to literally lay waste to an entire country, but that's neither here nor there. God, I hate how smug this bitch looks right here. Okay, I will say, I said it again, I do not dislike Sakura that much. Like, at the start of Shippuden to, like, Naruto gets Sage Mode. Up until then, I don't really, I start to, like, care less and less for this bitch by then, but here, at this point, she just looks so fucking... She just looks so fucking smug here. It just pisses me off. I'm sorry.
Sakura by the war arc is in the country level of AP. During the fight with...
I don't know if I agree with country level AP for Sakura. I'm not saying that she can't be. I haven't scaled her myself since I don't really scale characters I don't care for, but hey, at least Sakura at least learned more than Naruto did. No, 100%. That's the thing. I 100% agree that, like, she improved more than Naruto, at least within the 2 years. Certified Sakura hater, brother. Listen, I hate her specifically in part 1 and in War Arc onward. Not even War Arc onward. Land of Iron onward. It's the Sakura convention that killed the character, 100%. Yeah, catching strays. That's what I'm saying.
Kaguya,
Who
Sasuke,
here in this chat initiated this rant from Eon? Nobody initiated it. I'm sorry. I just saw that smug ass face and it just started just ranting. My bad.
Naruto, and Sakura are able to defeat Kaguya. Sakura is able to land a hit on
I do, but I can say there is a portion of time where I don't completely have disdain for her, where I think, like, okay, she's kind of funny. I do appreciate, like, the gag. It's all good.
Kaguya, and in some cases causes a boo-boo on her head. Whether there's a mark or not, Kaguya felt that punch. There's no denying that. Not saying Sakura is scaling this Kaguya, of course, but you pretty much get the point. Given Kaguya is scaling above Hagoromo and Madara, who are in the moon to planet levels, while Kaguya herself is debatably much higher than this, Sakura should at least be
I want to pause this real quick, specifically to talk about the scaling. I kind of know where he's going to go with this. I'm not going to, like, you know, try to cut him off with every little point, but I do want to talk about, like, the ETSO for a while, for a little bit, because the ETSO, and I just want to look up the truth-seeking orbs for a second, just to show you guys something. TSO. Data book. So, the truth-seeking orbs in the data book specifically state to have the ability to nullify chakra. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to do it from here. I want you guys to just look at this image right here. I'm gonna open it up over here. I want you guys to just pay attention to something here, and it says, it's a technique. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it's attack, long range. I don't care about any of that. Creating a dimension. Blah, blah. It's a technique. You can move the world places. Where the fuck is? No, it's not this. My bad. It's not this specifically. There was a fuck. I really wish I didn't lose that fucking image. I think there's another I think there's another thing right here that talks about, like, Ame no Minaka. Or did I get that from the... One second. Let me see if I can find it. It's a Kekkengege... Oh, right. So, okay. It's actually right here. My bad. So, you guys see this right here? I'm just going to zoom it in for you guys. So, you see right here where this shit says ninjutsu? Ame no Minaka is a time-space ninjutsu. This is going to sound crazy to some of you, I know, but, like, I want to show this first and foremost because... If Ame no Minaka is a ninjutsu, and I'm not trying to downplay, I'm just trying to follow a line of logic here. The truth-seeking orbs specifically say, those who blossom the senjutsu of 6 paths wear these black orbs encompassing the power of all 5 natures and yin-yang. Floating behind the user in the form of a circle, each of these orbs can be manipulated at will. Although each is the size of a fist, hitting inside these orbs is the power to easily obliterate an entire forest. Completely fine. By simply understanding the power of all things in creation, the black orbs can be freely altered into their shape and freely manipulate the natures and combine and reveal a variety of effects. This power that easily exceeds both Kekkei and Kekkei. Although the truth-seeking orbs are usually orbs, they're filling in Treeborn. Wait, where the fuck is it? There's a statement somewhere that specifically says that the truth-seeking balls negate ninjutsu. TSO negate ninjutsu. Let me see if I can find that. I think it's a statement from the anime, if anything. Negate ninjutsu. Truth-seeking balls is... There's probably a statement of it. Acquisition. I don't care about the acquisition. The usage, Hamura's head, clone technique, blah, blah, blah. Shooting orb covers all phases Kagetota by combining them instantly imbued. Okay. If imbued with a certain yin-yang release jutsu, the orbs can nullify any ninjutsu that they touch and thus become impervious to it, thus includes negating the regenerative qualities of the impure world reincarnation, making it possible to permanently damage those reincarnated by this technique. Let me just go to the chapter real quick for you guys. Like, we're doing some, like, legitimate power scaling right now. I know that some of you were saying before that, like, you know, we're just, bros just yapping, this whole stream was a lie, but no, we're gonna do some power scaling. A dreamlike power. We must avoid those black spheres. What a pain. Had to be torn off. I have the power of the same founders. Shinobi, just don't tell me that your jutsu. What does it mean? 4th, try not to get seriously wounded anymore, even though you've got an Edo Tensei body. I suspect that this guy is using a jutsu based on shadow and light styles that nulls all ninjutsu. Right? So, nullifies all ninjutsu. Right here. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, and it's not, and again, it's not because I'm trying to downplay none of that bullshit. It's not because of any of that, but it's because a lot of people tend to scale Kaguya up from, a lot of people tend to, Goku used the Z sword, so Goat Hawk upscales. Yes. If it doesn't have a black blade, Mihawk solos. So, because I want to just put it right here that, like, it is a Kekkei Genkai, but it's also just a ninjutsu. It's not a sage, it's not a 6 paths ninjutsu. It's not a... Shinjutsu, it's a space-time ninjutsu, and the truth-seeking orbs nullify all ninjutsu. Where is the trajectory of this stream going? The point I'm trying to get to this is that, like, the truth-seeking orbs, or specifically the ETSO. Listen, if you think that the ETSO is a dimensional destroying tier of power, if you think it's simply star level, if you think it's got the power to destroy a universe, if you think it's solar system or planetary XYZ, that's all completely fine. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm not going to tell you that XYZ, blah, 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 blah. All I'm here to say is that there is a potential possibility that when Kaguya used the expansive truth-seeking orb, when Kaguya specifically used the expansive truth-seeking orb, it's essentially just a truth-seeking orb that is expanding at a unquantifiable and likely eternal rate, but the thing is that it's nullifying the time-space location that they're in. So, I don't necessarily think that, like, Kaguya herself created all of these dimensions. I know it's stated like she wove together these dimensions, but I think it's a case like with Kamui where these time-space locations that she developed, or that she quote-unquote created, are simply a part of the technique, same as how the Kamui dimension is a part of Kamui, right? My mom never got physical, but she damn sure made me feel guilty. The smallest argument that hacks emotion control, one might add, but you could also have small tattoos. Most likely, Kaguya didn't even create those subspaces layers in reality. They were just already there, and it doesn't equal to her personal stats. Well, they could have came about because of Ame no Minaka. I'm not saying that, like, listen, here's the thing. I am not saying that, like, Kaguya didn't create these dimensions. What I'm saying is that these dimensions could have likely have been awakened, or these dimensions kind of, like, popped up as soon as she awakened the third eye. It's completely irrelevant to the context when it comes to scaling Kaguya because it's purely Cax. Right, I agree with that. So what I'm saying is that Kaguya could be star level, Kaguya could be universal, whatever it is, but I really do think that the expensive truth-seeking orb in this regard, the expensive truth-seeking orb, at least within this regard, was simply just going to nullify the time-space itself. It was going to nullify the ninjutsu itself, so if they had to go anywhere, it would have to be either another time-space or the regular dimension where they're from. I think that's more or less my train of logic, at least when it comes to... Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, Jake? Hope you've been good. I think that's more or less just the context, or at least that's where I'm more or less at right now with the eternal truth-seeking orb. It's not that it's star level, it's not that it was going to erase a star within it, it's more so that it was going to nullify everything within the jutsu itself. So it doesn't matter if it was a star, it could have been a universe itself, it doesn't matter. It would have been nullified regardless, because it's basically being covered by an expensive truth-seeking orb, which again negates all ninjutsu. That's just my personal take on it. My main theory is that Shibai made them, since all Otsutsuki can access certain dimensions, and all dojutsu descend from him, from what I'm understanding with that little we have on Shibai. That's also been true. Yeah, it's been months, Jake. I hope you've been good, man. I hope you've been good. I hope honestly everybody here just has been having a good overall summertime. For those of you that might live in a location where, you might be actually be in winter time right now if you're beneath the equator. I hope the weather's not too bad for you guys. I know that usually in those cases it's, if anything, more rainy than anything else, but I hope that the weather's been treating everybody else kindly. So it isn't that the truth-seeking orbs are actually dangerous out of universe or only in Naruto. They can still be dangerous. I don't want to make it seem like they're not dangerous. I don't want to make it seem like they don't have any kind of destructive capacity. That's not what I'm saying. It's cold as balls in Australia. That's unfortunate. I honestly don't like the cold myself. I can handle it pretty well. It's been hot as fuck for weeks. Where I'm at, it's been raining like crazy every now and then. It sucks though. I also told Six about a pretty dumb One Piece theory. You can put it down here in chat. I'll read it out in a second. But yeah, freezing in Massachusetts right now. That's unfortunate. I hope it at least starts to warm up, because we are in that time of year. What I'm trying to just really get at is that, like, and like, again, if we just go back to like the truth-seeking orb argument, they can easily obliterate a forest. And honestly, that's still within like Naruto's scaling tiers of power. Not to say that they cap out at forest, since it says it can easily obliterate it. Perfect weather here in Orange County, California. I'm glad, man. I'm glad. Trying to get Eon said Middy's a gooner for the same old, same old. I'm not a fucking gooner! God damn! In Germany, you either get good weather that's way too hot, or booty cheeks weather where it won't stop raining. That's unfortunate, man. I really want to travel to Germany. I really want to see. I know it's a beautiful country, and I've always wanted to go during Oktoberfest. I really just want to experience the whole thing. I can't really eat the food, and I can't drink alcohol, but I would just love, at least in terms of like bratwurst, that they're like too greasy, but like I would just love to just be there in the ambiance. It seems like it would be just a wonderful time. But yeah, it's just a little food for thought that I wanted to bring up for you guys in regards to like the video, because like you can get Naruto scaling has like so many variations of like how you can quantify any of it. So again, it's not just to say that like if you don't agree with the idea that like she's star level or she's or beyond planetary or XYZ, I'm just saying this is a line of logic that I feel like is at least comprehensive enough to be used, since it does essentially follow multiple it does essentially follow a very consistent line of logic. It's a ninjutsu. Ame no Minaka is a ninjutsu. It is the ability that allows her to teleport to all these dimensions, and all the dimensions are connected to the first dimension that she creates. It's a ninjutsu. The truth seeker orbs nullify ninjutsu, and the expansive truth seeking orb is essentially going to just expand, canceling out the dimension. It's not dimension itself, but canceling out the time-space ninjutsu. I would say that actually the same thing would happen if you put it inside a Kamui dimension, but that's just me. This can also apply to many Bleach characters who have hacks potency abilities that are a part of their technique. I could agree with that. Due to the One Piece world having some connection to Norse mythology, and the red line wraps around One Piece like Jormungandr, so the red line could be an allusion to that. I do agree that like the red snake that they were referring to in the first world when we saw that giant mural, I think that one could definitely make the argument that the red line, if anything, was probably alive at one point, or if anything, is just a slumbering giant beast. It's hot as fuck here in Oregon, Washington. Really? But at least it rains occasionally in the summer. Okay, that's good. Do you guys prefer the heat or the cold? Let me know. I'm personally a proponent of the heat. I don't care how hot it gets. I would rather be in 100-degree weather than being in like anything below 32-degree weather. I hate having to bundle up, but that's just me. The mountains of North Carolina were great, but here in South Carolina, it's hotter than Sukuna's divine flame that turned Jogo into a roasted barbecue. love the little point there, Lapis. Love the little throwback. By the way, if you want to experience Oktoberfest, you need to look where you are going. It's more of a South Germany thing, so in Northern Germany you won't find it easily. It also starts in September. That's lovely, man. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Hank Hill is in Fortnite? Crazy. Hank Hill officially scales above One Piece, guys. Hank Hill officially scales above the Big Three. Hank Hill could unironically solo the Big Three now because of Fortnite. Same, a Cleveland Brown. I love the heat. I love the cold. Humid heat is the absolute worst. I would absolutely love to be in like humid heat on a hot ass day with no fucking AC over, having to even remotely deal with like anything below 40-degree weather. I fucking hate the cold. Not to say that like I can't like walk around in cold weather, because like the only thing I really need to cover is my hands and face, but I cannot for the life of me stand the fucking cold. Iowa lame as fuck, to be honest. Aw. Versus Hatsune Miku. Goku with Shatter Gojo's Infinity like hits Pocket Dimension. It's not really like a space itself, it's more or less just creating an infinite series of numbers. I'd rather have cool weather where there's no mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are the most annoying bugs to deal with. I do agree with that. You're a winter person. I feel like I'm more or less on like, what's your take on White Diamond versus Kaguya? I have no idea who the fuck White Diamond is. Is that from Steven Universe? I have no clue where the fuck they scale. You have to ask Lapis for that. I leave all of my Steven Universe scaling opinions to Lapis, because I do trust that he knows it well enough that he can definitely make an argument, and it would probably be comprehensive enough to where I could at least agree with it. Even Vegapunk can create a sun with the Mother Flame. Who's winning, Hank Hill or Luigi? Probably Hank Hill at this point. Can we get back to the video? Yes, sorry about that.
Continental. If you're not 100% buying that she's in those moon ranges or continental, then she definitely is by the time of Boruto. Given their moon ranges or continental, then she definitely is by the time of Boruto. Given their counterparts are much stronger and experienced than their younger selves, she's even able to battle Shin, a character who is either stronger than Madara or on par with him. I don't care to...
Give me a second, guys. I need to unplug these headphones, and I'm gonna plug in my real headphones. I was just testing out the earbuds. They work, but they're also like disconnecting. I might have to figure out that issue and troubleshoot that later. Just one second. Also, I completely disagree with all of this. Her boxing with Shin does not mean anything against Kaguya. Okay.
Parts are much stronger and experienced than their younger selves. She's even able to battle Shin, a character who is either stronger than Madara or on par with him.
Why is Shin stronger than Madara? Let's see if he explains that.
I don't care to debate or dabble into headcanon on who's stronger with statements and whatnot, but we can all agree that adults.
But isn't that the point of this? Like, okay, so I'll say this afterwards. Yes, Shin is canon.
Sakura is above 8 Gates Guy, who is able to damage Jupidara. Well,
why is she above 8 Gates Guy? What feat does she have that puts her above 8 Gates Guy? How would you compare Gremmy's imaginary against Kumagawa's all-fiction ability and Hack's potency sense? Kumagawa's an absolute fucking monster. If you can remove the color blue, Remy's an absolute little best. Like, I want to just say that, like, Remy isn't all that impressive in my opinion, because, like, yeah, he sends you to, like, a pocket space dimension, but Kumagawa just took away the color blue. Mind you, I don't know shit about Medaka Box besides the fact that I saw it on a whim for, like, 10 years ago or like 8 years ago or some shit. I saw Medaka Box like 10 years ago, and I'm gonna be honest with you, or like somewhere around like 10 years ago, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I have no clue where the fucking series scales. It just shot up like randomly out of nowhere because of a simple Hack's ability. If he can just remove the color blue, then the level of things that he should be able to do with that ability are absolutely fucking stupid. I don't know any other context for what he can do, but Gremmy's imaginary is dog shit in comparison, because like, what is he gonna do, send you to space? Okay, cool. If a character could just break through that barrier of space, it's not an issue. He also just shot Kenpachi or Zaraki with some guns, which I don't know why that would have ever been remotely lethal to Kenpachi. And then he throw down a meteor, but it's like a meteor is dog shit by a couple of series standards. I was today's year old when I found out the Bount arc Bleach is filler. I didn't know it was filler until after I had watched it over, what has it been now? 14 years ago. Germany, it also means different, it's 2 a.m. here, so it might
most of us at least. Anyways, adult Sakura by the time of the Boruto era should be close to the moon levels or even planet levels. If you're buying a huge jump between Naruto and Boruto, then this becomes widely consistent as well. To keep most people at peace, we will be using the moon level of scaling. For speed, I feel like light speed is pretty undecided in the power scaling community, but I don't understand why Naruto/Boruto characters would not be light speed, to be honest. Even if we
Okay, so I know I've come across this times as like a guy who says like Naruto light speed ban is kind of iffy, and here's the thing. I do agree that like the Naruto characters, specifically from like War Arc onward, they could be light speed. I don't know how the fuck you get Sakura to light speed. I have no fucking clue how you get her to light speed.
Was to upscale the light thing attack Naruto dodged, then Sakura would still be light speed. And other than this, there's multiple light speed stated attacks that we see.
Yeah, light speed stated attacks. I don't care about what the attacks can do. I care about whether a person can run or dodge them. And in most of these cases, they can't. This is also the Water Fang bullet. The Water Fang bullet. I also don't agree with that, because if you just look at well, specifically, I use this page specifically since it just translates everything neatly and it puts in all the information. This page specifically, I don't think it's like in the 4th databook jutsu section, but I think it's in the 1st databook jutsu section, or it might be in the 2nd. Yeah, no, the translation's actually lightning, so I don't know why the fuck. Whatever. Whatever. Yeah.
See characters dodge, and since Sakura is able to combat characters who are vastly above this, then in turn.
But why is Shin vastly above this? You haven't proven that point yet.
She's light speed. There's also the fact that Kid Kakashi was able to cut a lightning bolt, and
14 to 16 years old, but Kakashi was a prodigy.
Using common logic, then upscaling would present light speed. It's likely Sakura's FTL or
I feel like he's doing like chain scaling, where like he compares, so he says like if Sakura is anything even remotely close to Naruto, then she should likely be light speed. You trust him? Alright, fair.
FTL plus from upscaling these lower statements and feats. Moving on to the scaling for the One Piece verse, just like the Orihime video, I'll be grouping.
Listen, you know what? You guys are 100% right. You guys are I don't think it's misinformation. There is a light speed statement for it in the data books. I think it's fine. This really isn't his fault. This is how power scale these days. They just upscale everyone just because no reason. I guess. I just don't agree with this line of it. Like, yeah, I'll say
Putting
what I
them
need to say.
into three main categories: low tier, mid tier, and high tier. The low tier will feature characters in groups such as Enel, Cracker, Doflamingo, Kobe, Killer, Jack, and most of the Straw Hat crew, Nami, Usopp, Robin, etc. Also use this tier for Sakura to wipe out any fodder not mentioned, as I'll only mention the important characters within said tiers, and not any fodder not mentioned, as
Can I just say it? Just pay attention right here. Can I just say how fucking brutal this is?
I'll only mention the important.
Like, imagine fighting a guy and you're just bludgeoning him with the fucking hilt of your, I think, or the suba of your fucking katana. That shit gotta suck, man.
Characters within said tiers, and not every single character or army foot soldiers. Sakura shouldn't really struggle at all with this tier. The only issue, to be quite blunt, is the durability, as in One Piece we do send them tank and endure various attacks.
Yeah, the One Piece fan letter is one of the best pieces ever made. One of the best pieces of like One Piece media ever made. I'm sorry, it is so good.
Sakura's AP would outweigh this. The scale for this tier would range from mountain to island level, and possibly a little above that from these characters affecting others to scale a bit higher. Their speed should barely be on par with Sakura, as even Chopper was able to keep pace with Queen and dodge his laser. So low tier for One Piece should be around island level with light speed or near light speed.
Okay, I don't God damn it, don't stop calling me a gooner!
Speed combat and reaction.
I don't know about the whole island level thing, but I do agree with the light speed thing.
Sakura, of course, does outscale this tier and should be able to one-tap all of them, mostly just struggling with the speed and durability like mentioned earlier, since it's more consistent in One Piece for characters to be light speed. Other than that, the only character in this tier that brings anything to the table would be Cracker and Dofi, but we've seen Sakura deal
I watched it out of curiosity because there was a
with strings and clones before, so she's clearing this tier. Next up being the mid-tier One Piece characters. These next tiers will have a lot more characters to scale and put up against Sakura. This tier, next tier, Zoro, Sanji, Yamato, Crocodile, Green Bull, Katakuri, Fujitora.
I'm sorry. I just gotta, let me just, if we're considering characters like Zoro and Sanji to be mid tiers, which, okay, by his metric, that's completely fine. I'm not gonna question this person's metric in the slightest bit. I'm not gonna question this person's metric, but if by the logic that these guys are only island level, I don't know why your comments invisible. Some people are saying chakra is the same as hockey. They can say that. At least as far as like I go by, I don't verse equalize, so. There's no way to say, and the two power systems work too differently for someone to really say, oh, this is a continent. God, I'm just illiterate. Yeah, no, he does say continent. I was just focused on the fucking bold words. I was trying to skim too fast. My apologies. Yeah, no, there's a fucking continent. Yeah, I'm stupid. I'm sorry. I'm just dumb. I was reading it too fast. I was just like skimming through it, and I just saw crystal ice sheet. You know, it's a continent. So, if this guy right here is considered a low tier, you can't just get him to island level. You have to literally say fucking continent. I don't know, man. Let me see.
Ace, Sabo, Queen, King, Law, Kid, Lucci, Kuma, Boa, and Marco. This tier will be much more of an issue for Sakura to deal with. The scaling range for this tier is from country level to multi-continental. From just outscaling previous scales, as most of this tier does have the potency of damaging a Yonko, who we know bare minimum.
Can you repeat those names real quick?
This tier is this King, tier includes Zoro,
can hurt a Yonko,
Sanji,
hasn't hurt a Yonko, could probably, keyword here, probably hurt at least Big Mom.
Yamato,
can hurt Kaido.
Crocodile,
cannot hurt a Yonko.
Green Bull,
he's an admiral. I'll give him a yes.
Katakuri
cannot hurt a Yonko. He cannot hurt Kaido. I don't think he can also hurt. I don't think he can hurt Big Mom either. But that's just me.
Fujitora.
I haven't seen anything from this guy that makes me think he can hurt a Yonko.
Ace.
He's an admiral. Definitely cannot hurt a Yonko.
Sabo.
Nothing I've seen from him personally makes me think he could hurt a Yonko.
Queen. King.
I don't know if these two could even hurt Kaido or Big Mom.
Law.
Definitely hurt a Yonko.
Kid.
Hurt a Yonko.
Lucci.
Did not hurt a Yonko.
Kuma,
Did not hurt a Yonko.
Boa, and
Has never hurt a Yonko. She lost. She actually got curb stomped by a Yonko.
Marco. This
Definitely didn't hurt a
tier
Yonko.
will be much continuity of damaging a Yonko, who we know bare minimum is scaling to an old whitebeard with a quick fruit. The speed is also going to be well into the FTL plus tier, from outscaling post time skip speed feats and
There's no Katakuri. There is no Katakuri hate. I just said the fact. When if you can get Ace, if you somehow assume that Ace is at least as strong as post time skip Luffy, and do not believe in the slightest bit that post time skip Luffy has gotten anything stronger up until after he fought Doflamingo for whatever reason. I think he's gotten stronger, but that's just me. You can maybe scale Ace to Continental if you think that he's at least, if his strongest attack is at least as strong as an elephant gun. No, we're not only doing
direct
One
feats.
Piece. We're just
So we
talking
do
about,
know
like,
that the speed will be pretty much even, and the AP won't be much of a vast difference that they cannot damage Sakura. Boa and Kuma won't be much of a vast. So we do know that the speed will be pretty much even, and the AP won't be much of a vast difference that they cannot damage Sakura.
Why wouldn't any of them be able to hurt Sakura? When has she ever had like a good durability feat? What's Sakura's best durability feat? Anybody know that? Okay? She clearly couldn't. Okay, she clearly got stabbed and hurt by Sasori. She doesn't do anything else until the fucking war arc. She doesn't really take damage in the war arc. When the fuck does Sakura have any fucking? I'm asking this like honestly. I did read through all of Naruto. Does Sakura have any fucking durability feats? I never saw him hurt Luffy. I'm gonna be honest with you. Unless you think that like him punching Luffy on the side is him hurting him, and that man Luffy was walking away without a scratch. I don't know about that.
Boa and Kuma would be the first to go in this tier. Boa's abilities will be futile, and Kuma alongside Boa is just the weakest in this.
Yeah, but she didn't tank it. She got stabbed. That's more endurance than anything else. She got done by Sasuke. Kuma would just take any pain inflicted on himself and throw it back at Sakura. Kuma is too kind. That's what I'm saying. Kuma can push all the air out of someone's lungs, bro. That's true. Kuma's crazy. I don't know about pushing the air out of somebody's lungs, but definitely push somebody away. I think it's something like direct contact with it or something.
This tier. Kuma does have
Yeah, I guess they could make durability. That's true.
good speed to combat Sakura, but Sakura overall isn't going to be affected by anything Kuma has to.
Why not? When Frankie has a body made out of actual steel, Frankie has a body made out of actual iron or steel. I forgot. It's iron, right? Frankie's body's made out of iron. He is unaffected by like projectile attacks, and a shockwave from Kuma made him bleed out of his mouth. What the fuck is Sakura gonna tank from that? Like, are we just ignoring the fact that, like, Kuma can send out shockwaves that hit you internally, like, attack your internal organs? Or at least, you know, pass through them and therefore at least, like, deal some type of damage? Like, what are we doing here? I'm gonna be honest, if women in One Piece find Boa Hancock to be hot, there might be a case that, like, other verses could also be potentially a thing. I don't know.
To offer.
Or at least
Marco,
they find her
Ace,
beautiful.
Queen, and Crocodile would be next. The Logios would be useful, but I don't see Sakura getting overwhelmed by their abilities.
Why not? Like, I'll say this at the end.
Especially since she has 100 healings and the raw stat advantage.
I don't agree about this raw stat advantage.
San isn't doing
Yeah,
anything,
he's
and
not.
we saw Queen get tagged by Tony Chopper.
Yeah, but Chopper has a light speed feat. What is Sakura's light speed feat? I'm sorry. I'm just asking. What is Sakura's light speed feat? Who does she keep up with that is as fast as Naruto or Sasuke? She got done in by Madara, and when she hit Kaguya, there was no pulse. There was, like, no thrust on her end. There was, like, no leverage for her to kick herself off. She was just falling.
So nothing more to say here. Yamato
Boa turned a robot to stone just because it identifies her beauty. That has and a half. Yeah.
Green Bull, Luchin, Katakuri are the next victims. Yamato is just a brute
How is okay?
force and speed. Once Sakura catches her, she's done for.
Yamato's taking hits from Kaido. Kaido, the guy that one-shot the guy that is stronger than the guy that can split a fucking continent. Kaido one-shot the guy whose body is made out of rubber, was in a state that increased his powers several times beyond their limits, and who is stronger than a guy who could split a fucking continent. How the fuck? What? Excusez-moi? Excusez-moi, mon ami? Like, what are we talking about here? But, look, no hate to this guy. Literally, no hate to this guy. I've always said this. Power scaling is all about interpretation, but, I mean, you're not... Okay, I'm just gonna say what I was gonna say at the end of the video right now. One of the reasons why it takes me so long to make a video, and one of the reasons why I'm a bit anal about, like, doing even things like, reels in general, is because when it comes to making reels, when it comes to making any kind of content that is anything shorter than, like, 10 to 20 minutes, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I made a whole video on just, like, the Admirals versus the Yonko, right? I made a video just on Admirals versus Yonko. I thought I could get that video done in, like, 15 minutes max. I only talked about, like, 2 real fights. Luffy versus Kizaru, and, Whitebeard versus Akainu, since, the whole Blackbeard and Green Bull things weren't really, like, big fights. It took me 24 minutes to just put out all of my points, because, and I say this again, this is just the way that I like to do things, right? Again, I'm not saying that, like, his videos, like, there's anything wrong with it, just, well, there's one thing that I do disagree with, that I do think is wrong with it, is that, like, when it comes to this sort of thing, people are always going to disagree or agree with your claim, depending on how well you provide your evidence. I'm the kind of person that I like to make a comprehensive argument. I like to make arguments that are as comprehensive as possible, which is why sometimes they might be up towards an hour long. But that's because I'm trying to be as comprehensive as possible, and I'm trying to give you guys, the viewers, as much information as possible, and as much of my own take and my interpretation as from it. And I'm trying to, like, extrapolate as much information as I can to, like, really make it clear that, like, my opinion isn't just coming out of nowhere, right? We'll read the comments after this video is done. It's only got, like, 4 minutes left. I'm gonna stop pausing it as much when I finish this. I do this because I know that people are gonna disagree with me on it, but I can at least give my points to those that, even if they're gonna disagree with me, they'll at least... Let me slow down. Even for the people that, like, might disagree with me, there are some that will at least, like, hear out my arguments, and, you know, they'll tackle said specific arguments in the comment sections. The issue with this video, at least from just the first time that I'm ever seeing this person's channel, and again, no hate towards them, it's just that you're not really providing any evidence as to why Sakura shouldn't be, like, a problem for these guys. The chain scaling that this person used, while I don't agree with it, also isn't comprehensive enough to where I can be like, okay, you know, I disagree, but I can still see where they're coming from. I'm pretty sure I've actually had this with you guys, with some of you in, like, the comment sections, where it's like, where, like, we have a couple of back and forths, we might not agree with each other, but once you really, like, explain where your mentality is with some of these things, Diode, for example, he and I were having a back and forth about the whole, like, Sasuke and, Sasuke surviving through Manda situation against Deidara, where it's like, you know, they expressed it, they said, okay, well, I just don't see it because of XYZ, and I'm like, okay, you know what, I don't agree, but completely understandable, I see at least I see your logic. With this video, I just don't see that.
Green Bull is just a worse Yamato, and Lucci doesn't have anything other than...
I'm sorry! What? I'm sorry! Green Bull is a worse fucking Yamato. Listen. I like Yamato. I don't think he's a bad character. I think the whole face he makes is funny. That motherfucker gets tired from making logs of wood. That motherfucker, Yamato was exhausted from making enough, was basically breathing out like he had just run a fucking 5K marathon after no training and fucking never even jogging in his life. This motherfucker was out of it. He looked like he was about to keel over and die from just making enough wood to just fill up the portions of the hidden leaf. And mind you, he didn't even do all the wood at once. At least I don't remember. Maybe I might be wrong on that. Green Bull literally made a forest Green Bull is a forest! This motherfucker got eviscerated by... He got evaporated by fucking Momonosuke's blast breath. And this motherfucker just came back from a sprout. And you're telling... He fought the Akazaya 9 and basically almost soloed them. No, he did solo them. The guys that could slash someone that could... Not slash, I mean shallow damage, sure. But the guys that could at least tank hits from fucking Kaido, who once again put down a guy who is... Whatever. When Yamato Naruto can produce a whole forest with fruit that can also drain your body fluids, call me. And ate an off-guard attack from Yamato. That's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. You wanted me to crash out? I'm about to fucking crash out. What do you want from me? What the fuck do you want? I'm about to crash...
In pace with Gear 5, which is impressive but not on that level. Katakuri has the highest chance within the set of opponents with Future Sight and a Logia effect, but Sakura would be able to figure out something eventually.
Okay. Sakura is going to figure out something. What is she going to figure out? So, some of you might notice this from some of my videos, but whenever I talk about like specific things, whenever I try to talk about like specific scenarios that could happen between characters, I usually say either I cannot answer it, or there is a certain precedent that might give us an answer. I don't like just saying a character will just figure it out because they have high battle IQ or whatever. No, I don't. I hate doing that shit. Or, well, I hate the whole idea of battle IQ in general, but like, I don't like the idea of just saying like a character's going to be able like to figure out a workaround. It's like, what workaround she's going to figure out? I'll check out, okay, I think this guy likes Sakura a little too much. Sanji will never attack a woman. Sephiroth runs the Bleach Gauntlet. Well, I'll wait and see how long that comment pops up.
And not to mention that he doesn't have any means to defeat her. Lastly, Zoro,
Sanji... What? Doesn't have any means to defeat her. My guy, he unironically made a larger hole. He unironically, and I say this in the most literal sense possible. Fucking Katakuri slamming down Luffy with a single buzz cut mochi, which mind you, it's fucking spiky. It's spiky, my friend. Him slamming this lady down with a single mother-loving buzz cut mochi made a hole. Look how big this fucking hole is for just a second. 1 second. Where the fuck is it? I think it's in the anime. It actually looked like way fucking bigger. Bro, this motherfucker unironically made a bigger hole on Luffy than fucking Tsunade has ever done in the context of the fucking series. I get, okay, well, he's not the best example. But, like, bro, I don't know, man. I don't know. He just overwhelms her physically. You're acting like Sakura has enough stamina that her strength of 100 healings is gonna keep healing her over and over and over and over and over again for fucking 11 hours straight. Listen, I've said this before. I think Katakuri, no offense, I'm not trying to insult him, has not the best stamina, right? It's actually one of the things that I think Oda pointed out in an SPS, but he still fought for almost 11 hours with a 10-minute break in between. But he basically fought Luffy for about 11 hours. Fucking Tsunade can't even hold down. Tsunade, unironically, cannot even hold off her strength of hundreds healing for fucking 5 hours. Or, well, at least from however long you think, the point where she activated it to the end, to where Madara literally ripped her in half. But even then, that's basically an afternoon. Obito Dual MS is over anyone in One Piece if we're not using verse equalization. No, he's not, actually. And he wouldn't even be able to keep up with Katakuri. Unironically, I'm going to be honest with you, Ode Cole, I've already said this before, Kakashi, DMS Kakashi, even he's not beating fucking Punk Hazard Law. I really don't think even he can beat Punk Hazard Law, but we're not going to get into that conversation.
Fujitora, Sabo, King, Kid, and Law. Fujitora is a better Green Bull with more experience and better abilities. He could...
No, he's not. They literally stalemated each other in Mary Joie. I'm sorry, but my guy, did you read One Piece? I'm not saying this again. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean. Like, but it's like... saying that he's a better Green Bull with more experience, actually, and no one gives a fuck about experience. We're talking about, like, because Kaido had, like, what, 50-something years, 40-something years of experience out in seas, and he lost to a guy that's been out at seas for 2 fucking years, and 2 of those years, 2.5 years, and 2 of those fucking years are... Says that he's not arguing using headcanon statements, but making up statements out of his ass, not backing them up. What argument am I... Wait. Eon says that he's not arguing or using headcanon statements but making up. What statements have I made up? Wait, what statements have I made up? If there's anything that you want me to clarify, oh Remy, oh yeah.
Could do some moderate-esque shit, but Sakura is likely busting meteors open. Kid in Law was shown to
I would love to see Sakura bust a meteor open. I'm not saying that she can't. What I'm saying is, I would love to see her do it. This is what I mean when I say you need some kind of precedent, right? You need something to prove that a character is at least capable of employing a tactic or a feat that you think they could employ.
bat a Yonko just like Zoro, so we know they have some good feats to back up attacks. Law has durability negation and some broken abilities that could snag him the win if Sakura isn't cautious. Zoro
What do you mean if Sakura isn't cautious? She could be as cautious as she fucking wants. He literally chops off her head, then chops off her body, then puts her ass in her fucking arms. He puts her head up her leg, and her foot is in her mouth. Like, what the fuck is she gonna do?
Zoro also has Haki to enhance his arsenal. Sabo is a stronger ace with better feats.
Sure.
He's even able to escape a room full of Gorosei, who are among the high tiers in One Piece verse. Although he doesn't have any standout abilities, he's definitely a good opponent. Sanji won't attack Sakura, so she takes that free win. This tier
But how does she hit them?
offers much more of a challenge, but doesn't have the raw stats.
Exactly.
She could get caught up in
is so stupid because you essentially have to fight Law outside of Room. And if we're talking post-awakening Law, he just has Rirum, which allows him to just shoot it towards you. Mind you, if he just uses Gamma Knife, it is literally stated you cannot regenerate the damage caused by Gamma Knife. So which means, okay, whatever.
Some broken abilities, but it's very unlikely. They do have the speed edge, so do what you will with that. If she gets caught up, she's done for in the case of Law, but other than that, she's killing everyone else. Now for the high tiers of One Piece. This tier is on par with Sakura's AP and faster than herself. The range being multi-con to planetary. And yes, both One Piece and Sakura could be scaled higher. Not going to be using the absurd assumption that the One Piece planet is a fucking star or some bullshit. Yes, the planet is bigger, but so is the Naruto world, so there's...
No, it's not. No, it's not. I had a guy in my comment section, I'm not going to point out who it was. Sorry, I'm just eating some candy. Okay. Okay. Let me just finish chewing this. What were we talking about? Actually? Oh! I had some guy bring up a point that, like, the Naruto world is, like, 9 to 17 times larger than our planet. And he used the statement from Fukasaku that he used a specific statement from Fukasaku that implies that it would take a month to reach. It would take about a month to reach Mount Miyoboku, and they essentially try to say that like the Naruto world should be way bigger than Earth if it takes a shinobi running at like top speed. I assume that they were meant top speed since it has to essentially be top speed for him to move that far. This statement right here. Which way is Mount Miyaboku again? It takes a month to get there on foot, and as it's also known as a maze mountain, if you don't know the secret route, you won't be able to get there. Basically, they take this statement and say that, like, if Naruto and Fukasaku move at top speed for the entirety of it, and they can't even get there within a month, then the world has to be at least, like, 9.7 or some shit times larger than our planet, but it's like, it doesn't account for the fact that they would be sleeping, resting, eating food, and they probably wouldn't be running at the top of their fucking speed the entire time. Right? Like, there's honestly no way I can think of to, like, really get the Naruto world to be larger than Earth. How should one refute that the Naruto world is bigger than the Earth arguments? It depends on which argument that they use. The argument that the person that I was debating with earlier this week used was essentially this, and they were essentially saying that, like, if a ninja's even able to travel, like, 40-something kilometers an hour, that means that like, the distance would have to be this far, and then they calculated it by, like, splitting it up by, I don't know what kind of distance or whatever, and they got it to, like, and they got, like, the planet to be, like, two or three times larger than our planet or some shit. I don't remember. I don't want to pull it up just because I don't want to like put that person on blast. But yeah, no, I don't agree with it because again, there's some certain factors that you cannot quantify, and unless there is actual evidence to imply it, that isn't just like, well, you know, if you take this and 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 this, and say like that. Let me slow down. If you take certain evidence and you just say like, well, if you account for this and then you logically assume that XYZ, then you can get the planet, Naruto planet, to be like 9 point something times bigger than our planet. I don't agree with that. The reason why you can get the One Piece planet to be so much larger, the reason why you can get the One Piece planet to be so much larger than our world isn't specifically because of like any one statement. It's because to have 10 to 20 million islands across the world, to have certain islands that are about the sizes of our continents to be just regular sized islands, not to mention that you also have to consider that a continent in One Piece would actually be something along the lines of like Asia or Africa in terms of like size. If a regular island like Alabasta is the size of Australia, again just using that comparison for a second, and then there's also the idea that you also have to consider that like the One Piece world, we've seen a globe-like effect on it. We've seen like a globe in the Tree of Knowledge in Ohara, and it showed that the One Piece world was also inhabited by multiple different satellites, moons and or satellites. I use the word satellite because it can be smaller than a moon, it can be larger than a moon, but usually a celestial body that is no larger than a moon can be considered a satellite. No, he said over 10 to 20 million islands. I could pull up the picture if you want. But the point I'm really just trying to get to with like this whole little thing that I'm saying. What was it, like 9:20 or something? No, it'd have to be like a little bit after that. 9:35. It'd have to be. No, it'd have to be like wait. I ain't gonna lie, Oda was really getting creative with that shit right there. I don't know why did it have to be an octopus? I don't know, but that motherfucker was creative. Anyway, the whole point I'm just trying to make here, the whole real point I'm just trying to make here is that like, in general, there's a lot of different factors that you can unironically use to get the One Piece world to be absolutely fucking massive. As a matter of fact, if you actually look at Beji when he went into the New World, I think it's like after chapter 5, it's before chapter, check around like chapter like 590 or something. For those of you that might want to check it out. There is a statement and an argument that, not a statement, but there's like an actual like feat right there where what's-his-face shows up, where Beji is on a ship and they get literally pulled up. They get like literally pulled up from the ground into the sky because of a satellite that exists in the middle of the ocean, and that satellite does not affect the world's currents. Okay. 5 islands in the world? Ha, that's nonsense. What? You could start counting islands and not finish until you're past 10 or 20 million. Right here. 10 or 20 million. Imagine over 2 million Australias, how big would Earth have to be? As a matter of fact, I've actually calculated that before. I've actually calculated that number before. It's fine, Chasen. It's fine. So, what's the surface area? Surface area of Australia. Surface area of Australia. So, the surface area of Australia, for example, is about, let's just say it's 3 million square miles. Surface area of Earth. Surface area. Ooh. Area of planet Earth. Planet Earth has a surface area of 196.9 million square miles. Australia only has a surface area of about 3 million square miles, but we're actually gonna do a little bit lower. We're actually gonna go a little bit lower. Calc. We're going to use the calculator real quick, guys. Okay, so I'm going to actually lowball this number a bit further, and it's actually 2.96, but we're going to go with we're just going to go with 2.9. We're just going to go with 2.9, right? If even less than 1%, we're going to say even if 0.1% of the islands in One Piece, just to give you guys the math real quick on that. The fuck? It's not deleting. Okay. If 0.1% of the islands in One Piece. Wait. I'm gonna have to make this bigger. Let me calculator science. Let me just delete all this. Oh, cancel. Okay. If 0. Let me go back. 1%. God damn it! Stop giving me that fucking. All right. 1 second. Okay. Let's go with the low ball. 10 million, right? 10 million times 0.1 equals 1 million. If even 1 million islands times 2.9. Sorry. Not 2.9. Sorry. 2.9. That's a million islands. If there's even a million islands on the planet. As a matter of fact, I'm going to lowball the number even more. This would be approximately the surface area of all of those islands. Now let's divide this by 19. 1,900,000. Let me divide this by. Let's divide this by 1,969 million. Let's divide it by this much. The One Piece planet on a low ball, just accounting. Oh, that's 10%? 0.1. Oh, my bad. If even 10%, so let's divide this by another 100. Let's just divide this by another 100, right? If you lowballed the One Piece world to be... Sorry, if you lowballed the number of islands to be 0.01 percent of the One Piece islands out of 10 million, if you lowballed that, you would get about what, like... specifically 147 times the surface area of our planet. It would be about 147 times the surface area of our planet. Probably not every island is 10 to 20 million. It has to be the size of Australia. Maybe 1 to 4%. I'm going lower than that. I'm going by like 0.01. Eon's pulling out the calc proves a point. Like, the One Piece world can be up to 100 times larger than our world, and that's only including the islands. That's only including the islands that are the size of Australia. That's only including... That's not include... Mind you, that's 0.01% out of 10 to 20 million islands. How big is Alabasta then? Alabasta has been estimated... Alabasta size. This is probably like the only pixel calc I have ever agreed with, and I've only ever agreed with it because we actually have like a metric by which we can actually scale this river right here, which is 50 kilometers wide. This river is about 50 kilometers wide, so if you use that to scale essentially like the rest of Alabasta, you can get somewhere around the size of Australia. This is about Australia right here. Maybe a little bit smaller, but the point still stands. It would be over 100 times larger than our planet, and that doesn't include the ocean, that doesn't include all other 9-point-something million islands. Like, this is absolutely insane. And mind you, there are continents larger than this. There are continents larger than this. Oh yeah, about 100 by... Yeah. I got you right now. 100 divided by... by dividing by 100, you made a 0.01. Yeah. Okay, so it'd be even smaller then. Anyway, let's just finish this.
There's no reason to scale them that much higher. If anything, large planetary is fair. And by this tier, characters should be multiple times faster than light. So since they should be both on par with one another, what characters does Sakura beat? She's beating Big Mom, Rayleigh, Shiki, the Gorosei, Garp, and Sengoku.
What do you say to those who say we cannot use these statements? If you don't want to, well, first of all, there's no reason for you not to use these statements. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, Marco doesn't... Here's the thing. For anybody to tell you that this statement from Marco is being hyperbolic, he doesn't actually know how many islands there are on the planet, this is not a statement coming directly from Marco, because there are characters upon characters upon character. Hey, what's up, Gaming Plays? There are so many... How does she beat the elders? That's what I'm thinking. There are so many characters spread out throughout the context of the One Piece story that help promote the narrative and expand the world building. To say that for whatever reason, Marco, of all characters, should not be used as someone who is, or should not be counted as someone who's allowed to, like, let's say, give you context for the One Piece world, means that every other character's statements have to be put into question then. But that's not the case. Don't forget that the land masses that are under the ocean in the One Piece world, which would make the One Piece world islands, hilltops, 100%. It wouldn't necessarily make the world any bigger, but we get the point. Mind you, all of these islands are just protrusions, like Berbogad said. They're just protrusions and just basically like large mountains or hills that actually existed on the world that was beneath, since everything has been flooded. The One Piece world isn't Marco the fucking navigator of the crew, and he's also their doctor. But, yeah, I don't know. The point is, if any character in One Piece essentially gives any kind of line or text that helps promote the world building, or size of the planet, it's fair game. That's fair, yeah. So there's no reason why anyone should tell you, well, these statements are being hyperbolic. No, it's not being hyperbolic. There is no statement within the context of the entire One Piece world that actually contradicts the statement. If a statement contradicts this, I will be the first person to say that might not entirely be true, and I would tell you guys that. The thing about statements like this, or even like, let's say the Luffy 10 times multiplier, is that if there is a statement or a piece of evidence that can directly contradict it, then that is complete. Then there is some reason to look at it with some level of with some level of damn, I'm slowing down. With some level of contention. Sorry, guys. I hope at the end of the series, we get the Nami world map. I hope by the end of the series, Oda gives us a fucking map of the world. Like, I really want it.
Alongside Kizaru.
First of all, I don't even know why he's...
Mama, Rayleigh, Shiki, the Gorosei, Garp, and Sengoku.
Okay, first of all, I just gotta say it right now. Because I've just been thrown so off by many of the things that this person has said. Why the fuck is he in the fucking top tiers? Why the fuck is he in the high tiers? This guy's a fucking fraud. This guy couldn't even fucking finish off a pre-time skip Luffy with the intent to kill. No, I'm talking about fucking what's-his-face. I'm talking about this afro-headed asshole fucking Sengoku piece of shit. Absolute fraud, pencil-pushing, desk-sitting piece of garbage.
Alongside
Sakura or Sengoku. Here. I don't like Sakura, but I will never say that she is useless as far as part 2. As far as the post-time skip of Naruto, I will never say Sakura is useless. I do not like her character, and I dislike her for completely different reasons. But to say that Sengoku is a high tier is absolutely... It's copium. It's absolute copium. I'm sorry.
Kizaru. The only issue here, like I've mentioned, is speed. Other than that, her AP should be above these characters, if not even. She also has 100 healings for a little boost. The hockey department will also present Sakura with much more issue to maneuver around. She's a better and physically stronger Garp, so Big Man Galaxy Punch is like a part to her, to be honest.
100%,
but Prime Garp should be much higher, obviously. Next up is the mystery group, in which...
What do you say?
But Prime Garp should be much higher, obviously. Next up is the mystery group, in which we don't have enough info to really gather whether she will win or lose. But these characters include Emu, Dragon, Rocks, and the Fingerling. We know them to be in...
No, Kaido, no. Kaido fucked them up. Kaido left them crying and begging Luffy to get them the fuck out of there. Kaido did his job. He didn't have to couldn't finish them off. He just chose not to. He let them wallow in their misery.
This scaling range,
but
whether they're higher or lower with broken abilities is yet to be seen. The ones I'm on the edge with is Mihawk, Kuzan.
Bro, I'm sorry. I just have to show you guys this right now. And again, this is not. This was just something that I saw earlier that legitimately just had me laughing. Garp launches ship. I don't need punches ship. No. I don't need that bullshit. I need launches. Guys, real quick. Guys, I'm just saying. I've never seen a Naruto character do this with just the force of their punch. Just raw strength, no hockey, no bullshit. Literally launched a ship into the sky. Launched a ship into the sky with the force of his punch. What are we watching? We're watching Peak right now, and then we're watching another power scaler essentially give us their opinion on like
Kaido. We've seen Mihawk, but he's yet to do anything crazy. And their statement that he's on par with Shanks, but I'm an advocate Shanks investor, so I don't buy this and rather use the skill department instead. But his hockey is broken, so this fight is a toss-up for me. Kuzan has ice.
Bro, Garp literally Kudo bursted his own ship. Garp literally Kudo bursted his own... Yo, Dio, you get me, man. You get me.
but I can just see her punching
left
through
hook was
most of
hard
it.
enough to-
The only problem would be
For
fast
reality, you say,
freezes
"Aight, bro,
and
no
the speed
gravity,
edge.
jeez." That's
Finally,
what I'm saying.
Kaido, who is just a tank, and they would likely go back and forth.
No, they would
He does
not.
have higher
No, the
durability
fuck
than
they
her,
would not.
and likely
He
even
would smash her down with his Kanabo constantly. He would do the same shit he did to Luffy and just blow her down all the way to the fucking water, man. I don't know.
AP. So whoever outlasts who wins this. It's more
I'm
likely
saying.
than not Kaido, since he has better stamina and
Just the tank
whatnot.
is
Now
crazy.
for the characters I don't see her beating are Shanks, Luffy, Whitebeard, Akainu, AP,
Wait, why
and
Shanks?
Roger will change. Whitebeard is stamina and whatnot. Now for the characters I don't see her beating are Shanks, Luffy, Whitebeard, Akainu, Roger, and
He
Blackbeard.
did that to a 60-meter ship. You know how large fucking government battleships are? He did that to his own personal ship. Mind you, these boats are larger than tailed fucking beasts.
Shanks is the hockey GOAT and likely the strongest Yonko. Luffy was shown to defeat Kaido in his Yonko status, so we know him to be in the planet
Yeah, the
range.
King Punch is
Whitebeard
crazy.
is just the creator of the most used AP feat. Blackbeard has 2 devil fruits along with hockey, which makes him pretty busted. He was shown to struggle with law.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I unironically think that Sakura might actually, like, at least break one of Blackbeard's ribs. I do think that she would at least break one of Blackbeard's ribs, arguably.
But he is a meathead, so yeah. Then there's Akainu, who
Yeah, no,
just has
Kaido
the
was really a
highest
jack
AP
of all stats.
devil
That
fruit,
motherfucker let
and
himself
Roger
get hit.
was the
He was
pirate
really just
king
taking
who's able
hits, and
to
he was
clash
just
with Prime
dodging around all
Whitebeard.
the
So
moving
Sakura
attacks.
solos like 99% of the verse,
90... Alright.
with like 6 characters only beating her. If we was to take both of
I'm not gonna lie, and this has nothing to do with like the video or what he's saying. I just really hate the fact that I think I'm hearing some like some Dr. Mario music in the background. And I'm gonna be honest with you. My friend has me completely fucking traumatized with Dr. Mario. He's so good at it. I stood no
versus
chance.
max AP scaling, then Sakura
think that's
clears,
Dr. Mario
but giving
music.
this reasonable scaling, she almost solos. One Piece
No,
is
she
just a
does
much
not. I'm sorry. Okay, let's read the comments. Once again, nobody send any kind of hate towards this guy. If we don't agree, we don't agree. That's fine. The honest truth. I could listen to Long's takes. Okay. Anyway. Sakura can walk on water by using chakra. Luffy can't swim. Just throws him into the ocean. Luffy is one-tapping Midura. Luffy can fly by using Gear 4, even Gear 5. So he's rubber in one effect. Something like hockey can nullify his double fruit. You should do a Sun Wukong gauntlet. The fact that this video was made is crazy enough. The fact that the topic's even debated is crazier. Every top tier he mentioned scales way higher than her. She is not touching. She's not gonna touch Rayleigh before. Don't forget the way the Hokage and Admirals. Oh yeah, no, we're gonna check it out. We're gonna check that video out, and then I'm gonna be heading out, guys, because I do have to go do some chores. She's not even gonna touch Rayleigh. He blitzes and one-shots her. Big Mom stealing her idiot soul. Shiki, despite not being technically canon, still one-shots her due to thanks to his devil fruit. Sure, she can damage the Goro state, but she's literally fucking immortal. They're literally fucking immortal. Okay. Read. Let's see. Dragon, blah blah. There's legitimately one good point you made is that she doesn't beat Shanks, Luffy in argument, but that bullshit statement that she solos 90% of the verse is stupid. She gets okay. I think that's a bit aggressive. It's a good thing she was showing Sakura some respect. Glad we made this video. I really don't like the way you're scaling. Like Sakura versus Crocodile, you forget that he can absorb all the water from anybody he's touching. She would be dead if she knows it. Yeah. It's not technically greatest explosive. That would be a C3. Not sure scaling Sasori above Sasuke in that way is the most logical, though, given that Sasuke was actively holding back against Deidara. I don't know about Sasuke holding back against Deidara because he was kind of fucked up after that fight. I haven't seen the Mihawk upskill meme. I'll check it out in a second. What do you think about people that think that Mihawk's weaker than Shanks? The only thing I think is that they don't know that Mihawk solos. He doesn't have Shanks doesn't have a Black Blade. If you don't have a Black Blade, you can't beat Mihawk. Cope. That is one of describing snapping her horn and bruising her cheek, though, through the back of her head. Also, I want to point out that was an off-guard moment. We know for a fact that Naruto characters have off-guard moments all the time. Well, not all the time, but when it's an off-guard, durability definitely is taken into factor. In Kakashi Hida and Shinobi are resisted freezing their internal organ by using their internal chakra to warm themselves, and Sakura is confirmed to have fire release in the new era in Retsuden. With her chakra reserves, her stamina is probably lasting quite a while. I don't know about that. I don't know how she's lasting multiple hours with that shit. Maybe multiple hours I could maybe see, but like I don't know how she's lasting. Well, I mean with Tsunade it was a bit different because like she was out of chakra. She wasn't like holding up chakra for years, but she also ran out just to like save Naruto and Sasuke. I mean, sorry, Naruto and Jiraiya. You are using Dragon Ball logic and applying it to Naruto as if the next villain is vastly stronger than the former every single time. Within the context of the story, Shin stronger than Madara and Ten Tails Obito at the end of the war arc. Again, an Otsutsuki member who ate a chakra fruit versus a failed former experiment of Orochimaru who's obsessed with the Uchiha clan. Even when it comes to Ishiki, Kaguya betrayed him and ate the chakra food herself, leaving him to resort to the shitty vessel of the tiger to survive, which led him to having to fight KCM2 Naruto, who had long since lost. I don't know about that. Additionally, if you read the manga and pay attention, Kaguya Team 7, they were getting washed and needed assistance to set up Hafahoromo, to sacrifice Obito, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Chakra and Haki are not the same thing. Even if you want to say someone gets past Moria and she hard stops at Kizaru because, say it with me, class, Chakra is not the same thing as Haki. I do agree with that. Even if you grant verse equalization, she's not consistently fast enough to keep up with Kizaru. One Piece characters are able to fly / moves through the air. Because they literally generate enough force to kick off of it. It is literally called Skywalk. Has Sakura ever achieved such a feat in physical raw strength alone? Let me see what he wrote. Oh, and he just wrote a clown. Okay. I definitely don't respect. Thanks for proving my point by avoiding the scale. Scrap Sakura universal when in reality it's nowhere near your top tiers. And if you read One Piece, and honest, I mainly read One Piece, and I'm still more honest than you about Naruto. If I'm wrong, show me a manga panel or concede. Yeah. Okay. I definitely don't like that. Hey, CJ's here. The only impressive feat Sakura has is punching Kaguya in the back of the head. She really thinks Sakura's soul is going crazy. Seemed like you want steroids. Okay. I'm not going to read the rest of that, but that was funny. Okay. Please read the newest comments on this video. Please don't tell me you guys like put anything rude. I'll do that, but please don't tell me you guys put in anything rude. I don't want to. Eon, bring back Bungus. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. She literally has no win condition against the Gorosei. Yeah. Alrighty then. W10K coming soon. Yeah, hopefully. We're actually getting a couple more subscribers, and I'm really excited about that, guys. Hey, we got 43 current viewers. I hope everybody's having a good night. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. We're going to check out the Hokage versus the Admirals. You know it was by, like, Afro Saiyan from a year ago? Sure. I haven't seen this one yet.
So apparently...
Okay, who's Bungus? Bungus was a character that I threw in when we were talking about, I kind of just, like, threw him in when I was making, like, when I was writing down some stuff on these pages, and everyone just kind of got, like, hyper-fixated on Bungus. It was just, like, some red moth fly thing that I said had the ability to withstand all heat, and they kind of just scaled him to universal. Bro literally just leaves a clown emoji instead of disproving an argument. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I'll say that. I definitely didn't like that, but we move on.